Yeah. Want to be like you?
Man's going back to the 70s.
Right. So
I see you, brother.
Well, you see me, yeah? Joker. Okay, welcome, people. It is the preview before Southampton versus Newcastle United. As always, I'm joined by my two brothers, Pete and Funmbi. How are you doing?
We're good, man. We're good.
Yeah?
Good, man. All good. Ready for the game?
Yeah, we're two days into lockdown, or lockdown number 2, return of the lockdown. How are you guys dealing with it all?
Bruv. it's not like this. It's not like last time. Things are still the same, man. People just getting on with it, man. It's just nice to see people say, you know what, I'm trying to get on with this, whatever, man.
Yeah. Pete?
Same. It's the same. Still at work, but like rather than people that are feeling sorry for themselves, they're just ploughing on, and that's the only thing you can do. I mean, at least this time. Well, I say this time, we've got an end game. We've got an end date. You know what I mean? Like, last time we didn't. Last time we didn't know when it was going to end. You know what I mean?
We didn't know when parole was going to happen. We got parole on the 2nd.
That's what I'm saying. So at least there's something to work towards. 4 weeks, work towards it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. So, obviously, we're coming off the back of a win, which is quite rare as a Newcastle fan. Coming off the back of a win, a good win as well against Everton, and now we're facing another team that's quite informed in Southampton. Now, last time we played them, which was the last game before the first lockdown, we won. ASM got the winner at their place. So, obviously, we'll be hoping for much of the same, guys. What's your thoughts initially?
Go for me.
Jump in
you know what? I was trying to say we're unbeaten in 2. We're unbeaten. Not coming up with we're unbeaten. But it's funny because against Wolves, I thought we were gonna lose. But we played well, man. We hung in there. We took what they had and we got a goal. And then we beat Everton. These were 2 teams who, if you asked us before the games, people would say, hell no, these are really good teams. Yeah. So we've done well to get 4 points on those games. So we should be feeling good going to Southampton. What I don't want us to do is go in there feeling comfortable. I want us to go in there feeling hungry, because sometimes we win a game. I think we did that with Brighton. We beat West Ham. We scored a cracker, to win the game. We figured, yeah, we'll take Brighton. And so we approached the game very lackluster. So I'd like us to really be on it tonight, know that we've got an attacking threat. And Southampton haven't got their main striker, and just try and do some damage if we can from the jump.
Yeah. That's it. We should, like I say, we should be just as confident going into that game as they are, if not more so, because they've not got Ings, like you said. And we've got Callum Wilson and he's firing. So a lot of their attacking threat is cut out. As long as we can keep the set pieces down with Ward-Prowse and stem the flow. I think it'll be about what we do tonight. I think it'll be about what we do as an attacking intent, because you got Maximin, you got Almiron, potentially Fraser, Wilson, you got all that attacking play. We just need to have a consistent base. So we played really well against Everton particularly in the second half. But it's, can we do it again? Because like you said, we did well against West Ham, went to Brighton, Brighton came to us, and it was like the complete opposite. Like, can we put 2, 3, 4 of the same performances together? And if we can do that, I honestly think that with how upside down the season's been so far with teams, that there's an opportunity to be fighting in the top half of the table. Look, I'm not talking about Europe or anything like that, but if you're a team that can put 2 or 3, 4 good performances together every so often, that's enough to get you in and around the top half of the table. And you look at the players, you look at the squad that we've got available to us tonight. The fact that Dummett played in the under 23s today says, normally we'd be banking on him once he's fit, he'd be straight back in the starting lineup. Where we can afford to have him playing under 23s because we've got a game tonight, and that's the difference. You know what I mean? We're in a different spot. We've got a better squad now than we ever have, and we should be, like you said, we should be confident. We should be going into this game And actually, it's the game before a 2-week break. Should we be going out there, right, and really putting everything on the line and trying to get 3 points, which could see us go third in the table? What better motivation you got than potentially going third in the table with a win going into the international break?
I'm actually having a mare because I actually thought the game was tomorrow.
Are you kidding me right now?
When you guys were saying tonight, I'm like, yeah, they mean tomorrow, right? They mean tomorrow. But then obviously when I dipped off, I was like, actually, it is in like 2 hours time. I'm like, oh. So apologies for that. This whole lockdown process is just throwing me off. Games are on like at 5. I'm seeing people kick off early. I'm like, why are you not kicking off at 3 or do you know what I mean, midday on a Saturday like at normal? But I suppose football is now played at any time now because we're all indoors pretty much, whether you're working from home or you're furloughed or whatnot. So yeah, this preview is very previewed to what's happening. Literally, the lineups are going to be coming out in about 45 minutes. So yeah, we can talk about everything that's going to happen very, very soon. So yeah, like I was just listening to what you guys are saying. I'm just looking at the team news now. I think we pretty much will go with the same team as before. Would you say? I've just got this possible starting lineup from the website.
Hayden's coming. Hendrick's starting again.
That's what it says. I mean, you know, Hendrick is Steve Bruce's son. I don't know if it's biological or the other one. You know what I'm saying? But it could be. It could be. What's your thoughts on it, anyway?
I mean, I like it, but I'd rather Hendrick was not in the team.
Yeah.
Why are you hating on Hendrick for, man?
He's dropped Miggy. See, he's dropped Miggy.
No, look, this is a possible lineup, so it's not guaranteed. So, yeah, possible lineup. Because, again, the official lineup usually happens an hour before kickoff, so he's still got 45 minutes.
He's not playing that. He's not playing that.
You never know, bro.
He's not dropping Miggy because Miggy was too good the last game, so he won't drop him. But the Hendrick thing, I do believe.
You know what? Bruce is one of those managers that if they win, he doesn't change the team.
Yeah.
So I know obviously you mentioned about Hayden coming back in. I personally don't think he will. I think he'll stick with the same team. He'll run with the same team because that's what he's done. Every time we've won, he's kept the same team. Now, I would try and find a place for Hayden because it's this type of game where actually we're going to need the likes of Hayden, because if you look at the Everton lineup, you had like Andre Gomez, you had Sigerson, you had a couple of other men in the team that actually don't run. They're not runners, so you don't need a runner to combat runners. Whereas you've got Southampton, you've got Theo Walcott, you've got you've got a couple of other players. You probably have Shane Long playing at some point today.
Shane Long's left,
Is he?
Yeah, he's gone to Burnley.
Okay, I didn't realise. So yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a couple of other guys. You've got Obafemi, you got the lad that was sent off last season. All tricky but pacey players. They're all good on the run. You've got Shea Adams that I know very well because he was a lad that was in my school football team at the school that I was at as a young lad in Leicester. So they've all got pace and they're all runners and they're a counter-attacking team, a little bit like us. So what you need is a midfield that you've got runners and you've got legs. And although Hendrick's kind of like just ticked over the ball a little bit on Sunday, he's not a runner. Hayden is, and that's where I think it'll be key. I think the midfield will be key tonight because I think we'll both be counter-attacking forward and back. But you need that guy to break up the play, and there's no better guy in either squad than Isaac Hayden. But I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I would change, similar to you, Funmbi, out of that team lineup is probably Almiron. Put him in. I think a game against Southampton, we've got to go at them. We can't sit on the count, sit and wait for them because they will punish us. Ings or no Ings, I still think that they're a threat. I'm happy with the rest of it. Fraser, Wilson, that link up just says itself. Like it's working well. So why change it? Murphy at right wing back again. Probably the best out of an okay bunch. So, yeah. And then obviously Hendrick. Obviously, we know the Hendrick situation, man. It's like put me rolling his eyes there, but it is what it is, man. What can we do, man? Hendrick's his son, bro. Like everywhere Bruce goes, he has one of these. He has either El Mohammadi or he has his own son, Alex Bruce, or this time now it's Jeff Hendricks. So we got the Jeff Hendricks. So yeah,
you sure it's not Alex Bruce in a mask? You know what I mean? Alex Bruce in a mask coming out with his burger.
I just don't think we need him tonight. I don't think we need Hendricks tonight. I don't think we need. We can put. I'd rather see Longstaff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know Longstaff and Hayden can play well together. That
Absolutely.
last season under Rafa,
Absolutely.
Before Longstaff got injured, those guys were keeping Diame and Shelby at the team for months.
Big time. And they were playing some nice football. They were complimenting each other. So yeah, I'd rather see him in the team. And I want him to get back to form anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be look. Let's face it. Hendrick aside, and we've all got our opinions on him. I think whoever else drops out the team potentially tonight is incredibly unlucky, because I don't think, other than Hendricks, which was a question mark, I think everyone else played really well on Sunday.
Yeah, so their team-wise, if I just get this up now, again, this is a possible starting lineup. As I said before, guys, we'll find out the full one in about 40 minutes' time now. The only attacking threat I see, and it's not necessarily an attacking threat, it's more a set-piece threat, is Ward-Prowse. Now, again, if you get the likes of Walcott diving in and around the area, Ward-Prowse is lining up. It's almost like a penalty. Do you know what I mean? It's the way he's taking free kicks right now. I mean, he scored 2 in that game before. It's Beckham-esque. It literally is. So that's the real threat. I know you mentioned Adams, Pete, as well. You know, one of your boyhood mates and that. But I would say Ward-Prowse is the main threat. What do you reckon?
I've always had a thing for Nathan Redmond. I've always rated him. I would have liked him a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago at Newcastle, particularly when he left Norwich. I think when Norwich got relegated, I would have liked him. It was 2016 when we got relegated, same season. I would have liked him to have come to us. There's just something about him. I just think he's got that pace. He's got trickery. He's a guy that can score a goal from any position, in the box, out the box. He's just a difficult player. So, you know, set piece aside, I think he's the one. Armstrong's got a good shot on him. He knows where the net is. He's a good finisher. So he's going to be one of those tricky ones. So for me, it'll be one of those two. Other than that, I think Che Adams is a good, talented player, but he needs someone up there with him, another striker. And I think him and Ings playing together has caused a lot of problems. But I think with us playing the 3 centre-backs, I think, or it should isolate him tonight. So I would expect him to have a quiet game. So yeah, it'll be the other 2 guys, Armstrong and Redmond, that I'd be worried about.
Okay. What about you, Funmbi?
I mean, Ward-Prowse is dangerous from the set piece angle. I don't think, you know, we have to worry about him running through our midfield, or, you know, if we allow him the time and space to pick out what he wants to pick out, then we'll have problems. But I think our runners, our midfielders are good enough to stop him from even getting to that position. The problem we have is when they're dancing in and around the box, they're going to be looking for free kicks because they know they've got someone that can take them. So we have to be very mindful of how we dive in. You see what I'm saying? And we do a lot of defending around our 18-yard box because, you know, a lot of the time we just sit back a lot. So we have to be careful of that, especially the one on the side. You have to be really careful with that because, you know.
Oh, sound's gone.
Sorry, you can escape 2 of those, but if you're giving like 7 or 5 or 3 of those away in the game, we're gonna get punished. So we have to be very mindful of that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I like Pete said, I'm a big Nathan Redmond fan, man. Like he's one of my favorite. I wish we did have him at Newcastle. That will solve all our right back issues. You know, if Jacob Murphy could play like him, we'd be fine. So he's a problem. But I don't know if he's hit form yet this season. He's not been really mentioned a lot. So
yeah, I think he's been injured. I think he's had an injury. That's why.
Okay. So I'm not sure if we're going to see the best of him. But yeah, Ward-Prowse, we just have to stop him from being able to. We can't let him dictate. But if we had Hayden, he's the kind of person that once someone like Ward-Prowse gets the ball, he's on him, and he can stop him from playing.
No, you're right. You're right. And again, yeah.
Go on. Go on for me. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, you're right for me about the whole not diving in stuff. That's the main worry for me. Again, no Ings, which works in our favour. No Long. So for me, Walcott, I think his best days are behind him. Redmond, I don't know. It depends which one turns up on the day, but the main one for me is definitely Ward-Prowse. So again, no stupid tackles. No, I know I love a Hayden smash tackle, but again, if you're going to do them further up the pitch. Don't do them in and around our, penalty area. That's what I was going to say.
But at the same time, I was going to say at the same time, we can't give him too much respect. You know what I mean? I know the coach is going to tell them, look, you can't let Ward-Prowse deliver, but you can't give him too much space. You got to time it to the point where he feels uncomfortable and has to give the ball up. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, you're right.
The one thing I'd noticed, just looking, obviously it's a potential team, the Southampton one, but if you look at that team, apart from Vestergaard, there's not a lot of height in that Southampton team, and we've got players that are decent in the air. So we're talking about set pieces from our point of view with Ward-Prowse and how dangerous he can be, but actually, with some of our players, we've got a more bigger physical team. We could actually cause them problems with our set pieces at the other end. So if you look at Redmond, you look at Walcott, you look at Bertrand, you look at Armstrong, Shea Adams, they're not the tallest of players. You've got Vestergaard and Stevens that are decent, but not the best in the air. Vestergaard's pretty good. Actually, we could cause them problems the other way. And it's the one area really that we really don't take advantage of. Like when
I was just about to say that, Pete.
Against Everton, if you go back to Everton or Burnley or whoever, whenever we get a corner, I don't get excited by it. I don't think. Oh,
I was just about to say that, Pete.
We don't look like we're going to score ever.
I was just about to say, Pete, like for the physicality we have between Lascelles, Fernandez, and some of the players we have, we really don't do enough in corners. Like we don't even put them under threat. It's really bad.
Definitely.
No, right.
With the height that we've got, we should be causing them. We should be causing teams far more troubles than we are. We've got players that can deliver the ball, but I just don't think that we organise a set piece to be dangerous.
No.
And that's what worries me.
Just shout out to some of the people in the stream right now. So Irish Tune says, as long as we don't concede any free kicks, we should be okay. Ward-Prowse is letting out his inner Beckham this season. Totally agree, mate. He then goes on to say Hendricks has Bruce's nudes. I mean, that would probably explain the reason why he gets into every single lineup, whether he has a good game or a bad game. So, yeah, that does explain a lot, Irish Tune. Daniel Kane says he's still at work, still at football, so it's all good. Still buy my beer for tonight. Great bids, guys. Up the tune. And then score prediction wise, Peter Thompson said 2-1 to the tune. So yeah, let's get into some scenario questions. I'll have a little scenario. So if ASM is having a shocker, which he does have sometimes, he can't save the day all the time, what do we do with him? I mean, do we play him in the right position? And what is our right position? For me, it's right midfield, but he has been known to playing on the left. But also B, like I was saying before, if he is playing in a shocker, what do we do? Do we persevere with him, or do we take him off? And what options do we have to come off the bench?
Well, this is where game management comes into play. It's all about what Bruce has planned. I believe if he's having a shocker, it's simply because he's doing too much. Do you see what I'm saying? When he has a shock, it's because he's trying to do everything, and that's because we rely on that too much anyway. So if he's having a shocker, the chances is the whole team is as well, because it means we're giving him the ball and expecting him to run 50, 60 yards and dribble the whole team and score into an open goal. And whereas that's beautiful, that's just not going to happen all the time. So my thing is, if Bruce can figure out how to manage him well, even if he's having a shocker where it's not working, we've got Frazier now, we've got Miggy who can come on and hopefully change the game. But for ASM to get the best out of him, we have to take the weight off of him, so he can actually express those that trickery, that genius, where it's actually needed in the final third, as opposed to all the way up the pitch. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we're going to get that moment where we're going to need him to do that turn of pace, but I don't want it to be the only thing we do.
Now, let me hit you back with a rebuttal with that one, Funmbi. If
Yeah.
we play Almiron, Fraser, obviously Wilson up top, and ASM, that's all of our attacking options in one go at the moment. What do we have then to come off the bench? So this is the part of the reason what I was saying earlier before. If we have all of our attacking options on at the same time to start off with, if one of them's having a shocker, then who do we look to on the bench? Because we've
Linton.
Big Joe saved the day.
You bring on Big Joe.
Failing that.
Listen, if one of them's having a shocker, if one of them's having a shocker, you shore it up where it's going wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? If one of them's having, here's the thing: if one of them's having a shocker, that's just 1 out of 4. What if the other 4 having a blinder? You see what I'm saying? If we're conceding goals, it's not because the attacking front's not playing well, it's because we're not defending well. So if they're all, even if one of them's not firing at all cylinders, that's okay, because Callum's having a great day or ASM's having a great day. So it's I can sacrifice 1 for 4.
But what if we're chasing? Let me ask this scenario to Pete, because Funmbi, you're moving mad right now, bro. If we're chasing the game, then, and we've got all of our forwards on the pitch. Now, we all know how Funmbi feels about Joe Linton. We all know how Funmbi feels about Carroll. Pete, what do we do? What's the scenario? Because, we all know about Bruce's tactical prowess, and they're using that nicely. What do we do, bro?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is that all 4 of them won't play. It's as simple as that. If you look at this formation, all 4 of them won't play. But if they all play, we haven't got an option. We've got literally a centre midfielder that's coming on, or another centre back. Because other than that, we haven't got any additional attacking options. Not unless you're putting Christian Atsu out the bag. He ain't even in the squad. Man ain't even in the squad. You've been putting out Save and all the rest of them. But in reality, I don't think all 4 of them will play tonight, and I don't think game in, game out, all 4 of them will play. I think he'll look to rotate it. It wouldn't surprise me if Ryan Fraser plays tonight and Almiron drops out, and then he brings Almiron on later on in the game for someone with that little bit of electric pace and pressing ability later on. It wouldn't surprise me if that happens, but it'll be interesting, because you talked obviously about Alan St-Maximin, and Funmbi's absolutely right, is that the reason why they've transitioned him to play up alongside Callum Wilson is to take that defensive duty away and to ensure that he stays higher up the pitch. So when the ball breaks higher up the pitch, he's got less travel time to get to their box. Because that's the thing, like, if you look at the amount of times Almiron and St-Maximin get the ball on our own 18-yard box and go on these amazing, fantastic runs, right, with the ball. But by the time they get to the 18-yard box of the opposition, they lose the ball, or we work a corner, or we get a free kick or something. But they've travelled 3/4 away of the pitch. You ask them to do that 10 to 12 times a game, right, by 65 minutes. Those guys are fucked. They can't do anymore. That's why you tend to see Alan St-Maximin start to disappear later on into the games, because he's been that dynamic and made that many dynamic runs that he's tired. And if he continues to make those runs, he pulls his hamstring and he's out for 6 or 7 weeks. And that's what we had last season. So we've got to manage him better. So that's why he's been playing up against alongside Callum Wilson. Is it his favourite position? No, he likes to play out on the wing, but he's been given sort of a free role to do that. The interesting thing is that if Ryan Fraser plays alongside St-Maximin, is where St-Maximin's actually going to play, because St-Maximin tends to drift onto the left, whereas Ryan Fraser, and we saw for the goal that he set up, the second goal on Sunday, is that he likes to play on the. He's a left-sided player. He's right-footed, but he's a left-sided player, and that's his predominant position. So are they going to say Fraser on the left, St-Maximin on the right? If they do, that's where their strengths are, both of them, which would be ideal. Or are they going to change it up and play Ryan Fraser on the right and St-Maximin on the left? I don't know, but this is where the manager earns his coins. You know what I mean? This is where he earns his money, because he's going to make these decisions. But ultimately, these decisions have an impact on how we perform. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
It is indeed. I was laughing at this comment coming in again from Irish Tune. It's all fun and games until we see Share in midfield. I mean, that pretty much does sum up Bruce, you know, putting makeshift players into like, what's the saying again? Square pegs around holes or something like that?
Yeah.
That's definitely Steve. That's another scenario question, in fact. It's like, again, if we're trying to go for it, if we're chasing the game, we've got all of our attacking like threats going forward like that, but in the center of the park, who do we kind of swap out? Because okay, I know the obvious one will probably be Jeff Hendrick, but who else have we got? Do you know what I mean? If we start Hayden to go alongside Hendrick, do we bring on one of the Longstaff brothers? Do we bring them both on? Obviously, no Shelby, no Richie, of course. Like, who else is there to kind of dictate the game? Because sometimes I feel that's the area to kind of boss it, like a Steven Gerrard sort of take the ball by the horns and like, come on, lads, let's get through this.
Well, you might not have to take any of them off, like, because the way we're playing now, we've got Jacob Murphy at right back, so you could literally take off one of them and bring on Mankilo, and then push Jacob Murphy further forward, and change it that way. There's just so many different options. The key is this, though: it's the scenarios he creates in training. So it doesn't matter if we're chasing the game. You could bring on Miggy and all of them. If they've not been praying together and understand what needs to be done to get that goal, they'll just be running up and down, just hoping something can happen. So it's not about just having all of them at the same time. It's getting them in a rhythm where they're dangerous. Like, you see Leicester, like, they're dangerous. I know Pete hates Leicester, but like, they are dangerous when they go forward because they understand how. That's why Perez, can barely get in the team because they've got a way of playing and it's just killer, and we don't have that killer yet. It showed glimpses in the last game where it was possible, but we don't have it yet. And that's what I'm waiting for. And it's not going to happen with Hendricks in the team.
Yeah. But that's down to the manager. You're talking about the Leicester. You're talking about the Leicester way of playing. I mean, look, Let's face it. Jose Perez doesn't get in their team because he's not consistent. No. He wasn't consistent with us. He had purple patches. They tended to come at the back end of the season. If you're a team like Leicester who are challenging for the Champions League or Europe or playing regular football, you need to be consistent, and he's not. Harvey Barnes was playing in the under-23s when Jose Perez came through. He's gone way beyond past him now into the England squad and is now a regular. That just shows how static Jose Perez has become. And let's face it, he never wanted to go to Leicester anyway. He wanted to go back to Spain because he wanted to get in the Spain squad. But that's another story. With Leicester, they have a manager that is tactically clinically aware of what he wants his team to do and how he wants them to play. He did it at Liverpool. Before that, he did it at Swansea. He got a newly promoted Swansea playing European football because of his tactical awareness and how he wants his teams to be set up. He did the same at Celtic. He's now doing the same at Leicester. So he's got a track record of knowing how he wants his teams to play. And within weeks of him taking on the Leicester job, got them playing a certain way. Steve Bruce just throws players into a team. And that's just the reality. He can have good players, and in the past, whether it was at Sunderland or Villa or Birmingham or wherever he's been, he's worked with good players. Let's not kid ourselves. He's had good players at his teams over the years. But the problem is that he just maintains them. He doesn't get them playing better because he hasn't got a style of play that suits them. That's just the reality, and so it's about us managing that and just seeing it through. And we will get performances where right now, where we're talking about just when Fordy went off, we were saying, what type of Newcastle are we going to get today? Are we going to get the same performance that we got at Everton? Can we be consistent? We're asking that question. Can we be consistent? We want to be a team that we know we're going to be consistent, and if we are consistent, we will be at least top 10. I have no doubts about that because we haven't got the excuse now that we haven't got the players. but we haven't got a way of playing, and that's down to the manager.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Well, we've already had a comment from Irish Tune again saying Rodgers with this Newcastle team would be dangerous. I totally agree, man. If any, I hate to say it, but again, even if we had Rafa back with this team, he would smash it. Do you know what I mean? But again, we won't get that because we'll be here all day.
Any tactical manager would. Any tactical manager would. You look at a tactical manager. I mean, we talked about Steve Bruce if he left. We talked about the likes of Eddie Howe. And a lot of fans don't rate him because he obviously went down with Bournemouth. But tactically, he's aware. He gets his teams playing attacking football. The only reason Bournemouth went down is because the cycle of their squad, it had its shelf life. It had finished. They had a lot.
And Fraser wasn't playing.
Yeah,
Callum was injured, so they just lost some key players.
They had a loss of key players, but also, particularly in defence, they had a lot of players that needed to be moved on and couldn't be. And there were aging players. A lot of them were in their the early to mid 30s, and they'd gone through their cycle, and that was the issue. As a manager, they still played attacking football, and he would bring that to this team. Brendan Rodgers would bring that to this team. Rafa Benitez would, because he's got better players to work with now. If he came back to this squad. You could see a lot of other managers that would do the business and get them performing better than what Steve Bruce would.
You know, Pete, I dare I say, under Rafa Benitez, I don't think ASM starts. I think he has to earn his place.
I think it was well documented that that Rafa Benitez didn't particularly want to sign ASM because he was, in his last season. It was well known that the Zetro Williams, the Joe Linton, and ASM deals were done. They were already pre-agreed. It's just typical Newcastle and Ashley that they're not wrapped up until later on in the summer. And is ASM's Rafa Benitez top player? No, he's not. He would have got him playing in a more attacking team.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But it is what it is. But he would get this squad of players playing better football.
Absolutely,
100%. He didn't want Shelby. Shelby would have gone by now, but he'd have got so Longstaff playing better football. He got Isaac Hayden playing better football.
He got players of Paris playing better football.
Exactly. So there are better managers out there that would get us playing better football. But look. We in the same sort of breath, 11 points out of 7 games, potentially 14 out of 8. You can't argue with that.
Whilst we're talking about managers, I want to talk about the Southampton manager. Now, I thought his days might have been done because when he got, what was it, 9-0 or something like that against Leicester?
This time last year,
yeah, literally this time last year when they got thumped 9-0, I thought, no way. There's no way of coming back from that. I mean, we've been on the end of some thumpings, but 9-0? 9-0?
In a Premier League game with fans present.
Premier League game on TV. Like, people can see you. This is not like grassroots down the road. This is like Premier League. People can see you, watch you around the globe getting dumped 9-0. But fast forward a year, like, they've done well. Do you know what I mean? They've brought in some players. They stuck with him. That's the main thing I want to say. So they stuck with him. And they're still looking good for it. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of discuss Hasenhüttl. I think that's how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? No one's above an Arsenal pin. Barcelona got battered 8-2 by Bayern. No one saw that coming. So it can happen in football. I always believe when you get like an 8-2 or a big 9-0, that's that point where it's like, okay, so it's rebuilding time. Yeah. Okay. Cool. When we start taking 8 goals in the game. And someone needs to retire. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and that's why you respect Southampton because they didn't panic. They didn't say, okay, let's go and bring in Kalishkolov. They figured, we've got a good manager here. His pride must have been come on, you don't play down 9-0. You don't go to the pub that night and banter it off. You know what I mean? Like,
to 9-0 off.
You can't even make love to the missus that night. Like, you don't deserve this. Or someone like that. You can't come heavy like that. So, but he's a good manager, man. And that's the thing I like about people like him. you can see the identity in the team that when his team's playing. That's why Brighton are not doing great, but you can tell the guy's trying something. And once he gets it right, then we'll be like, wow, look at Brighton. But it's been coming. And that's my issue with Bruce. It's like, bro, where is it? Like, where is it?
You know what? Hassan Hutel, I would take in a heartbeat to replace Steve Bruce. And even with that 9-0, I've got a good mate that I work with who's a big Southampton fan, and he, obviously he was gutted at that 9-0, and he wanted him out. And I said that would be the worst decision you make by getting rid of him. He needs to stick this through because tactically he's a very, very good manager. He, let's be honest, with the reputation he had over in Germany, Southampton were very lucky to get him because there were a lot of other teams, a lot of other bigger clubs that were looking at him. So he needed time, he needed investment, he needed to build the squad because at that point, Southampton were on their knees. They had players that they didn't want, they had players that they didn't want to be there. And he's had
to barely escaped relegation.
Yeah, he's had to rebuild that squad in his own sort of image, and he's starting to do that now, and that's why they're sitting second or third in the league because they've started to put performances together. So, you know what? He's a good manager. He's a good manager. He's at a club where they're not going to be challenging for Europe, but they're not, in my opinion, going to be facing relegation. So they are that sort of mid-table team, and I think Southampton as a club would be happy with that. If they start to put a little bit more money in, then fair enough. I think he's good enough to get them challenging Europe if they put a little bit of money in and sign the right players. But he's built back his reputation after that 9-0 win, and you can't have nothing but respect for a manager that takes that type of hiding and comes back stronger. He's done a fantastic job since. Fair play to him.
Yeah, fair play to him indeed. I was just getting up the fixtures because I remember last stream someone put the fixtures in. So obviously after Southampton, can't go past it too far yet. But obviously after Southampton, we got Chelsea, Palace, Aston Villa. Already difficult games. West Brom at home, Leeds United away, and then Fulham at home. And then that sees us through. Oh, and then Brentford, obviously, in the EFL Cup quarterfinals. But that sees us through to Christmas. So, again, I think these are points that we definitely need to take. Obviously, they're all points that we need to take. But again, like when you're coming up against the likes of Chelsea, sometimes you just have to kind of chalk that one off to, a free hit sort of thing. So, what are you shaking your head for, Funmbi?
We're at home. We're at home to Chelsea. They don't do well at our ground. They don't beat us at home. They don't.
I don't know about that. All that.
True though.
Warm stuff, that kind of goes out the window with me.
Here's the thing. Chelsea are not. They're still a work in progress, and they're not. He doesn't know his best team yet. They are winning games, but I'm not counting the European game they won the other night. I'd beat them. That's not. I'm not. Who did they play the other night? I'm not talking about those teams. They're doing okay, but they can get got at. They can definitely get got at. And if we win tonight, to international break, team or one of them going to play in Germany and come back. We're resting. We're chilling. We go into that game hungry. I'm not worried about Chelsea. If they beat us, fair play. That means they definitely found their form. But I don't think we should play defense against them. I really don't.
But that's the argument because I would say that's the one thing that Chelsea don't like is a defensive team. They're like a big open team that they can exploit on the counter attack. And they played Burnley at the weekend. Burnley, for long parts of that game, were very defensive and they found it difficult to break them down. Then what happened is that Burnley then were chasing that elusive win that they're looking for, opened up a little bit and then got punished and then went back defensively for the rest of the game and then sort of shut up shop. So if we are going to compete like we did last season at home, if we are going to compete with Chelsea, it is being defensive and hard to break down and being difficult and try and catch them on the break. Because the one thing I'll say about Chelsea, although they've got a fantastic goalkeeper in Mendy that they've signed in goal at the moment, their defence is susceptible to concede a goal. The defence is still their problem, even with Thiago Silva. So that's the one area where you can say you can exploit them. but we ain't going to get that look, that Kepa look this season. Not with Mendy in goal. He's a top goalkeeper, and he's young and he's only going to get better. He's like, it's like another Petr Cech type signing that is for them. But you know, like you said, if we get 3 points tonight and we're sitting on 14 points going into the international break, look, it's a fantastic start to the season. You know, and you know, praise will have to go to that squad and dare I say it, the manager.
We've got an intruder in the house, and he goes by the name of Sam. He says, check out Funmbi on the Greenwood and Mulliner show on Newcastle Fans TV. So he's coming here, doing some self-promotion. He moans that I don't invite him onto the show. And then, he goes and steals my cast. My cast! No, I'm joking. My people, again, shout out to Sam, Newcastle Fans TV. Great people. Lee, as always. Johnny, who comes on here regularly as well. Pete obviously does his thing over with Steve Braith as well. So they're all leaving me, man. I like to see all
never.
You know what I'm saying?
Never.
They're all going off to do bigger, better.
South, man.
They're just leaving me.
Look,
I'm just gonna. It's gonna be Geordie's down south to Geordie down south. You know, I'm just gonna be here like, you know that Will Smith meme where he looks around and he's like, "Where is?" He? It's like, yo, what's going on?
John Travolta one as well. John Travolta got one as well. Look, I think all three of us know where our bread's buttered, and this is the one. You know what I mean? We enjoy just catching up, just the three of us. This is what it's about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Newcastle streams out at the moment in various other different places. But look, you know, as we've said so many times, we're just three guys that support Newcastle that are further south than every other Geordie in the country. And we just talk about Newcastle, and that's what it is. We have jokes, we talk rubbish, we go off topic.
Man.
We enjoy doing it. This is what it's all about. It's not about followers or fans or whatever. It's just about us three guys just catching up after a week of work and hoping and praying that we see a goal, hoping and praying that we don't concede, and hoping and praying that we get 3 points. And that's just a laugh of a Newcastle fan.
Pete, let's be honest. Up until pretty much earlier this year, all three of us didn't know each other. Do you know what I mean? And we've all bonded over the club that we support. Do you know what I mean? We're always parts of London or the Midlands. We just thought, you know what? Let's get together, put our support together, and that's it. We've started this. Man. After a while, we just kind of got into the routine of previews and reviews.
Yeah, man. It's been dope, man.
Yeah,
hey, this got me through lockdown. This got me through the first lockdown, bro.
Exactly.
I remember when we were gassed over the takeover, and I was talking reckless.
You and your Kai Havertz, boy. Oh my!
Moving mad, boy.
You know what?
All those fouls here. No one can find out what I was saying. You know, I was talking awesome.
Listen, guys, if you ever want to catch some jokes, go to like about 2 or 3 months ago. Funmbi was spending money that we didn't even have. You know what I mean?
I said we need to make a marquee signing like Osuna Dembele sign like that.
You know what? There was 3 days that were mentioned seriously about 3 or 4 months ago. One was Kai Havertz, one was Coutinho, and the other was Carroll.
That was it. Funmbi was spending like billionaire money. It's like,
oh my god,
we won't need so when we've got Coutinho coming in, or we won't need Mbappe as well. Mbappe.
Oh my god!
You know, guys.
Our first signing was Kendrick.
Our first we went from Havertz to Kendrick. That was like the fall from grace. We was like, Kai Havertz, Mbappe.
Oh man!
And then we've got who's still here. And
people don't realize the pain of being a Newcastle fan, man. We were on a high.
You know what's worse than talk?
He remembers. Sorry, what you saying?
You know what's worse than talking about those players that we thought we were going to sign is the fact that we had fans turning around and saying, "Nah, I don't want Coutinho." You're actually denying the guy. We were actually saying we don't want him. You know what? I don't think I want Gareth Bale because I think he gets injured often.
Nah, I'd rather have him in Ryan Fraser. No disrespect to Ryan Fraser, but you know, there's like Ryan Fraser on a free, or Gareth Bale or whatnot. I mean, hold on. Sam's just reminded me. We all got carried away with #cans, if you did. Fordy brought me down, crashing back down to earth. Now, I need to tell you about this. I went on one of their streams. I went on enemy territory, so to speak. And then I was like, it's not happening. It's not happening. And Sam's face was a picture. I mean, boy. I mean, if you can dig that out of the archive, Sam, that would be gold. Absolute gold. Like, he was just so devastated. Because remember me? I was the cynical one. I was the one who was like, ain't happening. Nah. And it didn't happen. I knew it wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, that was just a reminder for me, man. Oh, bless him. But yeah, fun times.
Good times, man.
Yeah, fun times. I want to talk about one more thing before we wrap up. I've seen, obviously, the England squad's being announced. People talking about Wilson not being in there and Darla not being in there, and Gareth Southgate even got questioned about it. Now, for me, from a selfish point of view, I'm happy because my forward and my current number one keeper don't have to do extracurricular or duties in meaningless friendlies or international duties anyway. But I just wanted to see how you guys felt about it, really.
Well, it's funny because they spoke about it in the other group, and they mentioned the same thing. And
oh, did they now? Oh.
And he said and it was the same sentiment of like I don't really want Callum Wilson in the England squad. Here's the thing: do I think he should have got a call up? Danny Ings is injured. It'd have been nice, I guess, for him on the personal level. What I said on the Darlow, that's fine. I don't think he was slept on. I don't see why he should be in the England squad. That's fine. He's got time for that. There's no rush. He's not, for me, he's not blown the lights out of the league where he has to be in there. But in terms of Callum Wilson, what I said the other day, what I said last night as well was, if he's really upset about that and feels like he should be in the England squad, well, we'll prove it at Newcastle. Just score a hat-trick tonight, and then we'll start talking about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead, Pete. Right?
No, I agree. Look, I don't want any of my players going to international football. I'll be honest with you. I'm just selfish like that. I don't really care if they don't get picked. My reaction, I was at work, so I don't make good signal at back on my phone. But I was actually, there was all the build up at 2:00. England squad's going to be announced. Is it going to be Wilson? This, that, and the other. I was just checking it to hope that he wasn't in there, and when he wasn't, I was happy. You know what I mean? But and I'm being honest, because look, he's our only top striker, and if he gets injured, we are screwed, and it's as simple as that. And we need. Look, I'm not being funny. I would much rather him go and sit on the beach for 2 weeks. Obviously, you can't because it's lockdown, but I'd much rather him go and sit on the beach for 2 weeks and chill out and rest his legs, right, for all the pressing and solo running that he's been doing over the last 8 or 9 weeks, and be fresh for us. Because no doubt they'll have him training day in, day out. He'll pick up a little niggle and then come back to us crocked and out for 2 or 3 games and not kick a ball for England anyway. And that's normally the way. Now, if you look at our international history, the 2 big ones are having Rob Elliott, the goalkeeper, and Tim Krul both do their cruciate ligaments within a couple of months of each other and being out for over a year. And that basically screwed us along the way to be relegated because we didn't have a proper keeper. So, we've had those issues before. We've had players get injured and come back, but ultimately, look, let's be honest. If we're talking about England and we're talking about Callum Wilson, like Callum Wilson should be in that squad because he's good enough to be in that squad. Like if he's good enough to be in that squad playing for Bournemouth, he's good enough for being in that squad playing just as well, if not better, for Newcastle United. It's as simple as that. But there's been an issue. There is a clear issue with England and selecting Newcastle players. And it goes back a long way. It goes back, in my opinion, and I've said it for a while, it goes back all the way to 2006 when we had that massive fallout over Michael Owen doing his cruciate ligaments at the Euros, I think it was, where he was out for over a year, and there was a big fallout with regards to the insurance. I think we demanded a £5 or £6 million insurance payout, which the FA didn't want to pay, but eventually did because he missed a lot of football for Newcastle. They'd only just signed for us. And since then, we've barely had a player in the England squad. Michael Owen got back in there because he was Michael Owen at that particular time. and England was more important to him playing for Newcastle. We've had Andy Carroll, because he was a young striker who was physical. We've had Andros Townsend, purely picked because he was already on his way out of Newcastle, and then they made it clear he got relegated. And then we had Jack Colback, who then had to pull out because of injury anyway. And he only got picked based on the performances that he had for Sunderland the season before, because he actually hadn't kicked a ball for us because it was the beginning of the season. But when he got picked, so it was based on his Sunderland performances and not Newcastle. So we haven't since 2006 had a player that's genuinely really been picked and played a lot of games for England based on their performances with Newcastle. Because Andy Carroll played the majority of his England football
For Liverpool.
when he then moved to Liverpool. So, it's one of those things. And it's always been the case. And it's got worse and worse as the years have gone on. Shelby didn't deserve to play for England. Lascelles did deserve to play for England, at least get called up for the squad in March before the World Cup. And he was playing better than any other centre-back in the Premier League. So he was very unlucky. So that was down to Newcastle. There's been the argument of Isaac Hayden. If you've seen his chat with George Culkin, he was very honest and open and said he doesn't feel that he's ready yet. He's missing a little something before he's even ready. And he's been honest and said that. But Callum Wilson is actually, in my opinion, ready and good enough to play for England. And he's actually a little bit of what England's missing. I actually look at the way that England's set up, and I actually think he's better suited to that than Danny Ings and Tammy Abrahams in the way he plays. I think he has a similar style to Harry Kane, and I think he's a good replacement for him. But look, if Callum Wilson was playing for Southampton or any other club in that Premier League, Brighton, you name them, West Ham, he'd have been in that England squad right now.
Right, I suppose the final thing to talk about is going back to the game, a score prediction, seeing as we are 1 hour away from seeing the game. So predictions, please, guys.
I said 2-1. I'm going to stick with that 2-1. Callum Wilson twice again, just because he's pissed off he didn't get that England call up. He's going to show the world what they missing.
And before I get on to you, Pete, the lineup has been revealed and it's unchanged. So that's a big shock. So unchanged means Darlow in goal, Murphy, Cher, Lascelles as captain, Fernandez, Jamal Lewis, Jeff Hendrick, Sean Longstaff, Miggy Almiron, St. Maximin, and Callum Wilson. So unchanged, guys. People in the comment section, let us know as well before we go off. Just is that the right decision? Obviously, before I get onto you again, Pete, subs are Gillespie, Clark, Matty Longstaff, Andy Carroll, Joe Linton, Hayden, and Manquillo. So that's
not Fraser.
Fraser. No.
Not in the squad.
Yeah, lineup. Yeah, starting lineup. Yeah, starting lineup: Darlow, Murphy, Cher, Lascelles, Fernandez, Lewis, Hendrick, Longstaff, Almiron, ASM, and Wilson. No, not even on the subs bench. So yeah, unchanged. It says.
Wow. When did he change? He didn't change it, did he?
No.
I thought there was a change.
Ryan Fraser started the bench, so
no. Even
the
he's in the squad. So yeah.
Maybe he's injured.
He must be. Yeah, he must be injured. That's the only thing I could suggest. But yeah, going back to you, Pete. Oh, Pete's even dipped. He's had enough already. So yeah, no Fraser in the squad. So I think Pete's come back in. Pete, we're just about to come to you, and then he just disappeared, and now he's frozen. Oh, is he frozen or is he moving? Yeah,
I'm back.
Yeah, we're just about to come to you, mate. Like thoughts on the lineup and score prediction now.
I'm really surprised by that. Fraser must have picked up an injury. He only just got picked for the Scotland squad yesterday. So he was picked for the Scotland squad. So he must have picked up an injury either yesterday or the day before, whatever it was. That, for me, is a big surprise. And the starting line doesn't surprise me because I said to you, Bruce likes to, whenever we win, he likes to keep the same team. He doesn't like to tinker or change anything. So I didn't think that Hendrick would be dropped. I didn't think that Hayden would come in. So I was kind of like expecting that. Although I did feel that Hayden would be better suited to this game. But that surprises me and it slightly worries me as the game goes on. I think we're going to need to be up at 65, 70 minutes to then bring someone like Hayden on to shore up the game. I think if we're still chasing the game or it's still in the balance at 60, 70 minutes, I think we'll be ended up holding on for a draw. So that worries me because what you want is that emphasis, that injection of something different into the team. Carroll doesn't
And
give
they've
you
got that with Redmond on the bench.
What's that?
They've got that with Redmond on the bench.
Yeah. So they've got their injection of something different, pace and power and an ability to change the game, whereas we haven't. Carroll's static. Joe Linton doesn't really give you anything. He doesn't even really run about. He doesn't really give you a goal threat. And then other than that, you've just got Matty and Hayden that are just midfield players. So we've got a lack of attacking intent. So look, as I said, we need to be ensuring that by 60, 65 minutes we're
Do you know
winning
what,
the game.
Pete? We could sacrifice a midfielder and put Jacob further forward.
No, you're right. And you said that earlier, and you know what? That's not a bad shout, but that would probably mean us going back to a back four. And I'm worried that if we go back to a back four, that's then just when we're in a back four, we tend to concede more goals.
But my only issue is I just don't like anybody coming off the bench. There's just nothing coming off.
Yeah,
Joe Linton and Carroll. And Carroll just changes the way we play. But who knows? It might work out tonight. Who knows?
I've just put a tweet out just to kind of ask what's happened to Fraser. And Johnny, obviously from Newcastle Fans TV, said it's a hamstring injury. So that's why he's out. So again, all of our fast runners seem to suffer with obviously hamstring injuries because obviously you're running around ASM and Fraser.
That's a shame, man. Well, you know what? At least the international break's coming up. So that means we've got at least 2 weeks off, innit?
Yeah. So look, I'll be shocked if he's not being pulled out of that Scotland squad for him to rest for 2 weeks. He's going to need that big time. But then look, that just throws another question out there for me because that worries me because that's not the first time that a player's got injured during training. So what is going on in these training sessions? We've had a few injuries now in these training sessions. You had Dubravka that got injured or reoccurred his ankle injury during training. You know, you've got Fraser, you've got Matty Longstaff that did his thigh during training in restart.
Dwight Gale.
Dwight Gale as well. I mean, I think that was a pre-season friendly that he did that in, but still, it just begs the question: like, what are they doing in training that's causing these players to pick up so many injuries? When Rafa Benitez, his injury record was practically zero. No long-term injuries, always little niggles that were no more than a 2-week stint off. But we seem to be picking up like injuries constantly. Isaac Hayden was only a week or two ago where he had a hamstring injury. So what are we doing?
Yeah, we must be mismanaging these players. But I think we'll call it a day there, lads. Give ourselves a bit of breathing space between now and the game. Games at 8 p.m. tonight, which I didn't know at the start of the stream, but I do know now. We shall be back, I hope, after this game, hopefully with a win. So again, the game kicks off at 8, so I'm approximately around 10. Don't hold me to that. Statman Keith, you've joined the chat, but again, we're going to have to say goodbye to you and the rest of the people in the chat, but I'm sure we'll see you or speak to you guys all soon. Thank you guys for joining us and take care, keep it tuned, and come on, Magpies.